fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rid of the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top here!
Oh my god! Oh. Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go! Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
This may just be the best place to end the season, but we don't quite have that luxury. This is one of those tracks where racing is so good. It happens all the time. You can fight here, there, everywhere, every single lap, every single corner. There is a chance to make a pass, and that is why the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, otherwise known as Interlagos, is one of the great circuits to have ever been created. Welcome to the iRacing Grand Prix Series. It's round 10, and it gets a lot closer here in Sao Paulo for a championship picture that is ever closing. I'm Jake Sperry here at SimSpeed TV. Alongside me is Jay Kennedy, and this might just be a really interesting 35 laps of racing today. One tyre compound has to be swapped in the Mercedes AMG W12E Performance, and what we can say without a shadow of a doubt, Jay, is that this is going to deliver some amazing action. That is a track that should go down as the gold standard for all track design.
100%, especially in Formula Racing. It's absolutely amazing. Hello, everyone. I love this track in this series. It always has been brilliant. I don't think we've ever seen a bad race, even when we've had 10, 12 car fields at this track. It's just been fantastic. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this one plays out. As you said, the championship fight is absolutely incredible. Slight disappointment that we're not going to end the championship season here, but of course the real world schedule and the IGPS schedules matching up means that we'll have a couple of European tracks to end the season, but this should be absolutely fantastic. One of the best.
One of, if not the best out there, and you cannot really fathom just how great of a circuit it is. That middle sector from the Laranjinha over to the Pinarinho, the Bica de Pato and Bahulio, over to Junsao, the junction. And you've got effectively a track which works in 2 parts fast and 1 part slow. And it's challenging. It's challenging by undulation. It's challenging by every facet of what makes this track amazing. This track was good when it was the round 3 of the championship and round 2 of the championship, the late 90s, early noughties. When this became a championship deciding circuit, Jay, this became quite simply fantastic. Yeah,
absolutely. It's been a brilliant track and it's been amazing in this series. It's going to be interesting to shape the championship though, because this is really interesting when we look at the championship points. We see the last few weeks that Matteo Ugalotti has been dominant. He's in 7th position, but Stepanov still leading the championship over Kalen Chin. Fassbender and Nunez continuing to swap and change their positions over each week. But it gets even more interesting when we change it from 1 drop round and best 8 to dropping all 4 rounds that you're allowed to drop. Really changes the complexion and shows how open this championship is.
1874 coming in for Oliver Stepanov. You look at the points he's got right now, he's down at a similar comparative state by nearly 100 points. He's not here today. He said he didn't want to race this one, didn't feel comfortable in practice. He's got 2 drop rounds left, so effectively he's got the chance to run for it. Drivers like Andreas Henkel jumping inside the top 10 this way. Got drivers like Chin, Nunez, Fassbender all up there with big points. This is by no means a done deal with this championship. You've just got to find the one bit of information that gives you everything that you need and then some. I would say at this point in time as well, Jay, that you look at someone like Matteo Ugalotti. He's got no drop rounds left, but he has been faultless.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, it doesn't matter if you've got no drop rounds left, if you're just going to go and dominate the race and win, but anything can happen in these races. One minor mistake. This has been a track that he's been inconsistent at in the past too. He's been dominant here, but he's also made a lot of mistakes here too. So it's going to be interesting. But how close is that between Stepanov and Chin? We've seen some great battles for them. You think back to the amazing battle that we saw at Fuji at the start of the season. before the pit stop issue for Stepanov. They're almost inseparable. And Nunez and Fassbender, they're just going to chop and change that position all season long for the remainder, I feel. It's going to be very, very tight between them for the rest of this season.
I believe they will as well. And you just look at the gaps right now, up and down. It's just incredible. And qualifying is almost all but complete at this point. Nobody out there on track is able to improve on a lap, I do believe, with the exception of maybe Tamas Simon, but this might be an outlap for him out there on circuit, and he's gone around, so that'll be that. So there will definitely be no shade of improvement. Let's take ourselves to the starting grid then. No surprises. Matteo Ugalotti's on pole position, a 106.083. He's got it by just over a tenth from Andreas Henkel in second. Tamas Simon will line up third, the Hungarian, as it'll be fourth for Luis Nunez, the Spaniard. Kalen Chin will start in fifth with Corey Sharbo alongside him in sixth position overall. Anthony Cat will start in seventh place with Felipe Giro in eighth. Or even Horgland makes it 9 different drivers in nationality inside the top 9, with Benjamin Seiss holding or stopping that in 10th position. Victor Auad will start from 11th with Brandon Powell in 12th position. 13th will belong to Kent Nielsen. He'll have Harry Draper alongside for company in 14th. The Brits all congregating together with Adam Webb and Philip Yates, 15th and 16th, with Mateus Machado, the third of the Brazilian drivers here today, in 17th, and George van Rensburg, unable to set a representative time. The South African will go from the back in 18th position overall. They have 2 minutes to get themselves gridded up, and crucially, they don't use the front 4 grid slots here in iRacing. So it means that if you're starting from where about Kalen Chin is, you actually have a flat run off the start. Those in the front 2 rows, they're going to have an uphill drag off of the line.
Yeah, it's interesting that those front few grid slots aren't used. I've never actually thought about it, but it's an interesting thing to note. And also interesting to note, we've had a few different strategy plays around the soft tyre, whether they will be used greatly, whether the medium tyre is going to be used, whether we'll see the hard out there. Medium tyre, not necessarily the optimal tyre for racing conditions this week. Going to provide a little curveball from what we've seen over the past few weeks.
But everybody's on it. And I find that really interesting that
there's the
single driver
that we've been
all
thrown.
18 have decided to be on the medium tyre. So let's see how that plays out and what strategies are available. 35 laps, track temps 37 degrees, it's nice. Engine notes rising though. Let's get ourselves going. 35 laps at Interlagos and they're underway, and it's a great start by Andreas Henkel. It's a slow start by Luis Nunez. Kalen Chin's got a stormer as they run in towards turn 1. Henkel down on the inside. It's 4 wide in the back. 2 are going to go skittering off, but Andreas Henkel has got the move done and he is up into the race lead. Ugalotti will immediately try and fight back. Kalen Chin looking, and he has a huge moment as well, and that will open up Tamas Simon. 2 wide, 2 deep as they run into Interlagos for the first time, and still Ugalotti tries on the outside to get that place.
I think it's not done though, because Ugalotti now up the inside and he's going to steal his position through the hairpin, you would feel. And yes, he will. So all of that good work from Henkel has come to nothing. Had the slot back in behind. Only real change of position in the front is Kalen Chin past Luis Nunez, who did not get away from the line as well as those around him.
And that's how quickly you've got to be in focus. That was so easily trouble in the early stages, but they all kept it nice and calm. A couple drivers went on a little bit, but there was nothing more. Kent Nielsen and George van Rensburg in the pits then on the opening lap of this race, so they're in trouble in this one. It might be worth getting a replay after it chills down, but it's not going to chill down because Tamas Simon starting to have a look then at Andreas Henkel and co, and he's not going to quite find a move just yet. He's going to have to be very cautious because Henkel could very easily run away, or you could let Ugalotti run away if he has to start thinking about defending. Speaking of defending, here comes attacking because Anthony Cat tries to find a way past Corey Sharbo.
Yeah, not quite able to do it, but Sharbo knows he's there now and will have both eyes on the mirror as opposed to both eyes on the track now. So we're trying to work out what's going to happen for Anthony Cat. I'll tell you what, that got very, very close very quickly. But no positional change for now. He's going to slot back in behind. Ugalotti already out to an 8th tenth of a second advantage, but we'll see what happened to Kent Nielsen and George van Rensburg on the opening lap.
It's very easy to get things wrong on the opening stages of a race, and it happened pretty quickly. So George van Rensburg from the back got a good getaway and was able to gain a couple places rather early on. Machado as well is in the pit, so he's had an issue this lap, it seems. So his trouble's pretty much there. So Nielsen gets a checkup and then bang, malfunction at the junction and a straight-on impact there. You can see the suspension completely caved in for Ken Nielsen. His day done at turn 3, the Curva de Sol.
That's unfortunate. It's very, very fragile in certain places, these cars. There wasn't much to that contact, but it was just enough in the wrong place of the car to cause that damage, which has resulted in a mechanical black flag for both Nielsen and Van Rensburg. And also, as you said, Machado's had an incident too, and he's now in the pits due to a mechanical black flag as well.
Yeah, he actually spun it at turn 2 and put himself into the arc. That's why his day is done. Virtual Racing School replay then up on screen. This is how easily you can get it wrong around here, because you have to be aggressive through the center S, the left and then the right. It's curb on the inside, it's curb on the outside. He lost it on the entry, backs it around and bang, end of the race.
Yeah, that suspension damage from that little hit on the front right-hand tyre would have been enough. Of course, now on lap 4, DRS is available. The gap just before the DRS was available was at 8.5 tenths of a second. DRS has now brought that into 6 tenths, 5 tenths, almost 4 tenths of a second. And interesting to note as well, Matteo Ugalotti has not registered an official lap time yet. That means that he's picked up an incident point on each and every lap. Got to be careful, you only get 17. He's on at least 3 in 3 laps.
At least 3 in 3 laps. And for those who were with us earlier for the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup qualifying series, we found out you can get 18 incident points in 3 laps on a track much shorter than this. So It is very, very easy to pick them up if you're not paying attention in a race right now. Front drivers, front 5 are away right now. And then it's everybody else. Corey Schabo's holding the rest of the pack up.
Drivers get the DRS from just up the hill here, and Nunez does, but everyone behind Zazbo is going to get DRS and potentially get a move done. No. Hoagland's going to get a move done, though. Up the inside, Brandon Powell, no, not able to get it through.
Powell's so good around the outside, but he has to leave the room through the Curva de Sol, and because he can't put the power down, it's going to open up Felipe Giro, who's trying to think of, does he have an angle? He doesn't. On the brakes to Ski de Lago, Hoagland does get the move sorted and does move up a place, and wide off the exit goes Powell, so here will come Giro, looking to the outside to try and get this done, and behind him, Harry Draper's got a little bit of a look, and around the outside, brilliantly done, he's still got to confirm it here as they go through now into the Pinarino. It is confirmed. What a move by Felipe Giro.
Yeah, beautiful job to get that done. Remember, he started in 8th and he's dropped back a few spots, but he's starting to get them back, close it down. Interesting, I was about to flick to Andreas Henkel because he was very, very close to Matteo Ugalotti. He got it down to 3 tenths of a second. But, oh no. That's big damage.
That's big damage for Corey Szabo. And on the radio, he was like, that was not what I wanted. And he took a massive hit as he was trying to get that spun back around. This is how quickly it can go wrong. And everyone gets it wrong when it comes to this sort of corner. Up the hill corners, it's so easy to put too much throttle on. He goes through on the power. I'm pretty sure Senna did that in 94.
Pretty sure I've done that a few times. I'm not saying I'm anything like Ayrton Senna, but I've definitely done that here too. It's very easy to do. You take a little bit too much curve on the inside, unsettle the car, and then you find yourself putting the power down as you do every other lap. But that's too much when the car isn't planted in the rear. Around it goes. This is a very interesting battle pack now. I mean, with that incident there, Hoagland making contact, you see the front wing slightly damaged. Meant that Felipe Giro was able to get through with DRS help. And now Hoagland's trying to defend from Brandon Powell.
He is trying to defend, he is trying to find what he can in order to make a move, but at least right now, he has got to be patient. He knows it's a long race, and Harry Draper all of a sudden's a little bit slow, and he's going to lose 1, he's going to lose 2. Might be out of battery with the way that he was going down the straight at 297 with the DRS flap open, and suddenly in through turn 2. Thank you very much, trying to get that back, but Victor Awad gets the drive, and he'll take the place, and that group completely shuffles back away once again. Top 4, though, are so interesting because they're line astern right now. This is Andreas Henkel we're on board with in second position. That's Matteo Ugalotti just in front. Now, they played a game of chicken so long in the race last week that it was a case really at Kota where Ugalotti managed to beat Jarl Teyen absolutely fantastically. Andreas Henkel will not want to repeat the same mistakes, and it's just coming out the exit then through the left. I think it's with downforce where Ugalotti's gaining all his time.
I agree. I think you're right. I think it is the downforce, and you see now that DRS is open, the speed difference is incredible. Even up that little piece of hill at the start-finish line there, Ugalotti loses pace and everyone else still gaining. Even the guys further back that haven't got DRS available are still gaining speed. So I think the downforce is quite high for Ugalotti, and the different downforce package he potentially is using, causing his pace to be quite good through this midfield section.
Yeah, and this midfield section, I think, is the one place where Andreas Henkel wishes there wasn't over the course of this lap. On board with Tamas Simon then in third position, searching left and right. Little bit of a lock up there, moving through the Pinarino up to the Duxville corner, the Bico de Pato. And this is where you need to be on the power. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in this race, all chasing down at similar pace at this point in time. Quickest driver that last lap, though, was Luis Nunez on the back of this group. So if you're third, if you're fourth, if you're fifth, this might be an undercut day today.
Well, that is one thing that I did hear, is the undercut is the king at this circuit. So undercut is the key that could win you the race. Undercuts will be the one to do, but you don't want to be the driver that does it slightly too early, because your tyres are going to go away very, very quickly late on in the race. So I also heard that some drivers were starting to struggle with the medium tyre after 6, 7, 8 laps. So we could see drivers in for softs very, very soon.
We could. We're not quite sure why the mediums are struggling so much. We're on lap 9, and it might just be that it's the track conditions. It might be a humidity thing.
The track isn't as hot as we would normally see here. I think that could be part of it too. I mean, it's only 37. We quite often will see 40, 50 degrees Celsius track temps.
I've seen 58 here, and it does get hot, and it does get understeery, and it does become horrible to drive on at that point. This is nice as they go through and they fight here in what is actually really hot conditions right now. So at least right now they're trying to find what they can, moving along the front stretch, and it's an older scan here of Interlagos compared to what is the newer pit lane, which does weave right to left. This is as committed as it gets when you come into pit lane.
Oh yeah, you're still full speed as you're in the pit lane, and then you use the uphill to your advantage to slow it down. So look, Yates just loses that spot back to Harry Draper into turn 1. I think Yates has got the same issue that we saw earlier from Draper, running out of battery down the front straight. I'm thinking out of this group, Tamas Simon's the most likely to do something out of the ordinary. He's got nothing to lose. He's here just to win races. So he could find himself either doing the massive undercut or trying something completely different with an overcut. But yeah, I think that undercut is going to be key with how this race is. As you say, it is hot out there. It's not as hot as it can get, but it is fairly warm. But I tell you what, the pressure of these drivers is making this race even hotter.
It will. They'll be sweating buckets wherever they are around the world, be it in Italy, in Germany, in Hungary, in Singapore, or in Spain right now. They'll all be looking at each other going, well, where can I find the one thing I want, which is an overtake, and positions up around as they go through the opening couple of corners, flick out behind the pit window or the pit building, and run themselves now onto the Reto Aposta, heading towards the Skidda del Lago here on lap 11 of 35 if their tyres are good here, Jay, you're expecting them to go to maybe lap 23. We do have a taker in there. Adam Webb is going to say, I've had enough of this. I'm going to switch my tyre up. And he's gone onto the Red Bull soft on lap 11, which is very, very telling.
Yep, I think we'll see someone in this lead group pit this lap. Someone's got to do something outside the norm. You can't just do the same as everyone else because you're going to end up the same positions you already are. So someone's going to bite the bullet. Is it going to be Ugalotti? Is it going to be Henkel? I'm thinking it's going to be Thomas Simon, but it could be Luis Nunez at the back, who has quite regularly in this series done something different to everyone else. The one driver I'm surprised that didn't start on softs is Anthony Catt.
I'm surprised as well, but he's decided that this is his strategy and he's sticking to it. And he will try and run conventionally here today at Interlagos, round 10 of 12, as they start thinking about the drop weeks. Kalen Chin knows he's got to start thinking about victories. He does have pace, but he's been struggling a little bit. And I think Tamash Simon here today has got a very similar setup to Matteo Ugalotti, because every time I look at him through the middle sector, he really does close up to Andreas Henkel, and he does close up pretty significantly.
I agree. I think you're right there. And the other part too about Kalen Chin, his race pace has been brilliant. But the last few weeks, his qualifying has been absolutely deplorable by his standards. I know you'll be okay with me saying that because he has been disappointed in himself and is quite vocal about how disappointed he is in himself. So Kalen Chin needs to try and get that qualifying sorted for the last 2 rounds to potentially steal a championship here from Ugalotti and from Stepanov. But, yeah, Thomas Simon setup-wise, I think you're right. I think he's running that extra low downforce package as well. It's or extra high downforce package, I should say, in comparison. And Henkel, I think, is running the extra low downforce package because he's got some great pace down the straights. But he just isn't able to get the car planted and the drive out of the corners.
No, I don't think he is either. Some good battling as well further back as Øyvind Horgland finds a way past Brandon Powell. Back a move then for 9th position as Horgland gets back to even, having to go the long way around to make this one happen. And around the outside, getting it sorted at turn 2, second part of the Center S. That was wonderfully constructed and wonderfully completed. Now, I'm looking at Adam Webb's first representative time coming out, and he was only 0.4 of a second quicker than his fastest lap on the medium, a 109 flat. So I don't think that's quite promising.
No, but then we don't know what drivers have done in regards to setup and things like that either. So yeah, this is probably the one race that we have come into not knowing at all what could happen strategy-wise. We've always been given a little bit of notes. We've been given some curveballs. We've been thrown some absolute lies. But this one here, we've been thrown so much different info that we honestly have no idea what to expect because either everyone's telling the truth or everyone's lying. But whatever's happening, we've got no idea.
Well, right now, they're on lap 14. Half distance comes along in the next 3 laps, and it's looking pretty conventional at this point. Let's take a look at the Virtual Racing School replay, because this might be Brandon Powell coming straight back at Øyvind Horgland down the inside at turn 1. Well, tit for tat, that is. That's just as good as it gets there, just getting the DRS on that long run up Archibanca dash through the Skidados boxes and over towards the Center S once again. It happened again with the DRS back down the back straight. Horgland got straight back through, so we skipped away from that replay too early. So they've already changed position twice on this lap, and I wouldn't be surprised if they change again going into turn 1. What this overtaking little battle that they're doing has done is Victor now is within DRS range, so he's bringing Harry Draper with him. So that 2-car battle for 9th is now a 4-car battle for 9th. Yeah, by proxy, Harry Draper does jump onto the back and will now start to be an integral part of this 4-car scrap going on. And what I find interesting is, again, Brandon Powell to the outside, who's going to get the move done here through turn 1. But at 2, he's got no drive, and Horgland, who is going to be right up underneath, going to have to figure out where he wants to pass. He'll have the DRS, moves hard to the inside. He'll have to go the long way around if he wants this one to work. On the brakes, maybe try up and under, get the power off the exit, and he doesn't quite get the drive that he wants, and suddenly he's got Awad all over him, who's thinking up the inside at Ferradura, the horseshoe corner, not going to get there. And now Draper's going to go around the outside. Here comes Harry Draper trying to find this move. Go on, you son. Down the inside. What a move.
Beautifully done. And I think Haugland was a little bit worried when he was trying to make that move around the outside on Brandon Powell. I think he realised that Victor Owen was right there potentially to steal the position if he didn't get it done. So backed out of that move. And I think Owen was probably a little bit sheepish in how aggressive he was. That cost him the position and maybe has no battery left as well. So he's dropped off very, very quickly. And Harry Draper is using it all because he might get the spot now. And he does.
And he will. With ease, consummate ease, as he goes in towards the centre S on his 16th lap of this race, making a comfortable pass then on Haugland, who might use all of his deploy right here to try and get it back, and he'll move to the right-hand side. That's why you don't spend all your battery, sunshine. He gets it right back again. Yep,
beautiful job from Haugland, and we know how good he is. He's been brilliant throughout this series, but Harry Draper just got a little bit beaten by a bit of experience there in this series. I don't think Haugland was too stressed about losing that position because he knew he could get it straight back. At the front, not too much has happened other than Henkel losing a tiny little bit of ground on this lap.
It is showing, and at least for the moment, Henkel's going to have to be a little bit concerned. The gap now to 0.6 of a second, but top 5 all still as they are at this point, and they're pulling away. They're about 5 seconds clear of Anthony Cat and the group behind, which has just changed positions actually. Felipe Giro through on this lap on Benjamin Seiss.
The move done into turn 4 last lap, so Benjamin Seiss now trying to get back through into position number 7. And just behind Brandon Powell in 9th. Here's the equal biggest mover in the field, along with Harry Draper and Philip Yates. All 3 of those cars up 3 positions in this race.
3 positions right now, but Haugland is side by side with him, coming to Ferradura. So now Haugland trying to figure it out, has to get well out of it. And Harry Draper is right there, and he's thinking the outside again, over here at the right, which leads into the Pinarino. He's not going to get there.
One of these guys really has to jump in the pits, you would feel. One of these guys has got to try and do something to get out of this group, because they're now brought Philip Yates back in. He was about 2.5, nearly 3 seconds back, but he's now almost back in DRS range. So it'll be interesting to see whether anything happens in this group pit stop wise. Adam Webb, as we said, the only driver to make his stop. He just set his personal best lap of the race, and here we go, pit stops. Powell comes in, Haugland goes, well, I'll come too.
Yeah, why not? We've been together at the hip all race long. Let's join at the pit stop as well. They'll have to get in. They'll go up on the jacks, get their tyres changed, and then get dropped back down and go again. It should be a process of 3 for 4 seconds, and Haugland had a pretty slow stop getting into his box, and that's why Powell was able to get out in the way.
Well, he spun it on pit exit there too. I was actually surprised that he didn't need to take a fresh front wing. Remember from the incident we saw earlier, but watch this slide coming out of the pits.
Well, it's such a dramatic drop down the hill. The car just bottomed out.
That was crazy. I was surprised he didn't end up looping it there, but he did a very, very good job. Lost a little bit of ground to Cal, we'll see. In comes Sama Simon.
And this is important. Lap 18 of 35 completed. Hamash Simon is the first of the leaders, and this sets a chain reaction for everybody else in this pack to think about when is the right time to make a stop. Crucially, with Brandon Powell, he's come out behind Adam Webb, so that's big in terms of where they've come out in terms of the stops. Also in is Harry Draper trying to cover off the move, but Hamash Simon has got the one thing in the world he wants more than anything else: clean air. Yep,
the only thing he'd want more is easy DRS that he can use, but if you can't get easy DRS and easy positions from that, you might as well have clear track. So Webb leading the group. Powell, here's Draper, and he's going to come out right with Haugland here.
Oh, he is.
Oh, no!
Oh, no, he's not. He's in the wall.
Oh, no.
That's a disaster. Oh, my word. Going through, pushing too hard. He got a wiggle in the middle, and in the wall he goes.
it's disastrous for him. I mean, he was doing such a good job in this race. He was driving really well, really mature, applying pressure to some of the best in this series. But yeah, just a bit of understeer, bang into the wall. That is race done. Mechanical black flag, race over, unfortunately.
Henkel in, Chin in, Ugalotti is staying out. That's big. Luis Nunez also staying out. And Tamas Simon has got them both. Yep. He has got them both.
By a decent margin too. He's going to be out of DRS range. Henkel...
I don't think he'll be that far.
Yeah, Henkel's only 1.2 seconds back, so that's a change of position though. Tamas Simon through on Andreas Henkel. How often do we say the easiest place to make an overtake is in the pit lane? Tamas Simon's proven our theory right once again.
He absolutely has, and Tamas Simon will now know that he is in the box seat with Matteo Ugalotti still yet to come in and make a stop. And I tell you what, his lap's going to be crucial in terms of how quick he's being as they go through. He's still got Luis Nunez who's in trouble. Purple sectors coming into play. And Ugalotti staying out for the long haul here. He's going to be going to about lap 30, you'd feel. Nunez into the pits.
Yeah, I'm surprised by this. This is a big call to not come in with everyone that you're battling with now on the freshest tyres. The only driver left to pit, two drivers left to pit, Victor Ard and Matteo Ugalotti. Fastest lap of the race there for Tamas Simon, a 1:07.5. You compare that to Ugalotti, a 1:09.0. It's 1.5 seconds. Remember how much of a gap there was between Ugalotti and Tamas Simon before the pit stops? Around about 1.2.
Luis Nunez has come out behind Kalen Chin, hasn't lost a million miles, but Kalen Chin's in trouble because he's at 1.1 here to Andreas Henkel. He doesn't have DRS.
No, he's lost the DRS train, so that's huge for him. But what will Ugalotti do? I'm sure he's looked at the comparative lap times and will realise, hey, I'm getting swamped here by Tamas Simon. I'm going to lose the race lead if I don't come in now. He has to come in this lap. No, he doesn't. Oh.
No, he doesn't. He'll stay out, and I think he's got a predetermined plan here, unless he's going for a big overcut at the end of this race with confidence. That might be the only thing that he's trying to think of that could save his race. Tamas Simon, the gap 14 seconds as he crosses the line. He is running leagues faster than Matteo Ugalotti right now. Another 1.2 seconds clear, and he's pulling away from Andreas Henkel by about 0.3 of a second a lap. And it is so showing at this point in time just how quick Tamas Simon is driving at the moment. He doesn't even need the extra 80 brake horsepower he'll get from the drag reduction system, which is the rear wing flap that goes through. Suddenly, Luis Nunez has eyes on Kalen Chin in 4th place.
Yep, and he'll have a bit of extra confidence with those fresh tyres underneath him as well. But this is so surprising from Ugalotti. I mean, before the start of this lap, the gap was 14, just on 14 seconds. He's now down to 12.9 and dropping quickly. Staying out, I think you're right. I think he's going to go as long as he possibly can, potentially pit with maybe 4 or 5 laps to go.
That's brave. I wouldn't say 4 or 5 would get him through, maybe 6 or 7. I reckon. I think he'll do something very similar to what he did last week, and I don't think this gamble is going to pay off unless he can see the tyre drop-off from Tamas Simon, which has been about 0.3 from his fastest lap, but it's not that much at the moment, and we haven't got any indication of how quick Ugalotti can go on his own on the soft tyre, and you figure out that if it's a 1:07.5 right now, can he do 1:07.3s, 1:07.2s? He'll need to find some magic if he wants to go through, because he'll have 4 cars to pass if he's not careful.
Yeah, it's all well and good to have great pace on the soft tyre and have amazing pace that's better than these guys, but he's still got to make overtakes, and we've seen that making overtakes in the big DRS trains hasn't been that easy. So we saw these top 5, they didn't change positions for the entirety of that first 17 odd laps that they were out in front. So yeah, I can't see how this is going to pay off. I mean, the gap now is only down to 12 seconds, and he's going to come out behind Nunez.
Oh! And in he came, and he locked it up coming into the pit. He had a huge slide as he went through. He got away with it, but we'll have a look here on the Virtual Racing Score replay. He is full trying to slow this up. 7th gear. Oh, you can see how quickly he went through. You blink and he was from 7th down to 2nd.
That was incredibly quick how he got it all changed back, and he's going to come out at a decent margin. Yeah, decent margin behind Luis Nunez. So that's 7.5 tenths of a second. He does get DRS there, but he's got to make 4 overtakes to take the win on tyres that are only 5 laps newer than the leader in the group. This is going to be difficult. I mean, if anyone in this field could do it, it's Matteo Ugalotti, but even by his standards, is one of the best in these cars. It's going to be very difficult.
And you figure as well, when you've got all your drop rounds used up and you're looking at this championship, the one thing you've got to do is mitigate risk. This is the riskiest strategy of anyone because he's got to make passes on track.
Yep, difficult to do. We've seen it, how hard it is, but I tell you what a run he's got on Luis Nunez. Remember we said before about how good he's got the car set up out of the corners. Maybe he can do it. Maybe he's going to surprise us all with how good he's got the drive out of these corners. He may get this spot here on Luis Nunez, and he will. Nunez decides, no, I'm not going to fight this one too hard. Lets him go. So 1 position done. Still 11 laps to go. He still could do it, but it's going to be difficult. You can see how far up the road Temes Simon is. 3.8 seconds at the moment.
3.8 seconds and 11 laps to go. He's going to have to chase down at about 4 tenths of a second a lap if he wants to make this happen, and he's got to make passes while he does it. No pressure then in this one for him. It will be Kalen Chin next. Keep an eye further down the pack. Adam Webb, who was on those softs initially, is about to lose a position to Victor Awad then, who's got the DRS down the inside to Ski to the Largo. Thank you very much. That's a position maybe a bit early for Adam Webb.
Yep, he's now on lap 14 of this stint, and his pace, I mean, he's only 8 tenths, 9 tenths away from what his average pace has been, so he may have just had a bad lap, but we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that over the next few because that'll give us a guide. Here comes Ugalotti trying to get this move done on Kalen Chin, and I'll tell you what, it's not even going to be a fight. Move done.
It wasn't. He was on the brakes early, was Kalen Chin. He didn't want any... Oh, Kalen Chin goes! Just like that, lapse of concentration, sat off of it, going into turn 1, suddenly on the power, he was out of his rhythm, and he goes around.
Wow, that's huge. That's hugely costly for the championship. Will that define the championship? Will it cost him the championship?
I think it will. You can see here, he's well out of it, allows him to go. By the time he gets to turn 2, he hasn't been running in clean air. You can see it, the car just bottoms out as he grabs a little bit of grass on the inside, and the moment it compression damps, that's that.
Exact same incident we saw earlier on for Zasbo up at the second last corner. Just obviously different corner, but the exact same incident. Hits the curb too aggressive, car bottoms out, rear wheels get off the ground after the little bump. That's enough to unsettle the car, spin him around. Ugalotti now gap down to 2.8 seconds. That lap by was the fastest, unofficial fastest lap of the race.
107.564, 108.421. 9 tenths of a second on that last lap for Matteo Ugalotti,
including an overtake.
And overtaking.
Yeah, he's very, very good, isn't he? But I think the 2 drivers he's got ahead of him are the 2 that he's probably thinking are going to be the toughest to get past. The other potential issue he's got at this stage does not have DRS. Henkel also does not have DRS. So could that be enough to not be able to close that gap down or close it down quick enough? We'll find out very soon, but only 8 laps to go. Only, what's that, 16 odd opportunities left to make the overtake, and 3, 4, 5 of them are gone because he's not close enough. He's got DRS though.
He does. Andres Henkel's got to get within a second, and he has. So now the top 3 all within a second, and this becomes awkward because Matteo Ugalotti knows that Andres Henkel's probably the quickest driver of the entire pack when it comes to being in a straight line.
Yep, and the easiest way to make overtakes on track is in DRS range, but the issue he's got is Henkel's got DRS as well, and has also had the best straight line that we've seen all race long. In saying that, looking at overall top speeds of every single driver in the field, Borgland's fastest at 324 kilometers an hour. Felipe Giro, Brandon Powell both at 320. The next fastest driver in the entire field, top speed, is Matteo Ugalotti at 319. Henkel 314. Tamas Simon 314. So will Matteo Ugalotti be able to close it down? We've said his car's fast through the corners, but those numbers say that he's fast on the straight too.
Oh, it's an impossible car, isn't it? It's fast on the corner, it's fast on the straight. I could only dream of having a car like that.
Oh, I mean, our issue is we're not good enough drivers, Fairy, so that wouldn't matter anyway if we had good enough cars.
Oh, don't put a downer on it. I was enjoying this race.
Just being honest.
Well, there is honesty, and Henkel is trying to shift that draft away. He does not want Ugalotti anywhere near it, but he knows that because he's got the DRS, he's safe. He's a little bit safer. He's going to have to get a bit closer here as Matteo as he goes around this track. The one thing we don't know is how much he'll struggle in the dirty air with 7 laps to go. Ugalotti driving like a man possessed at this moment in time. He has one thought in his mind, and that is chase down the German, chase down the Hungarian, and get back to the race lead.
The other thing we're not sure of as well is how much is taken out of the tyres after 5, 6, 7 laps. Remember, he's got newer tyres, but after 5 or 6 laps, do they plateau off and don't wear much further and stay as they are? Which would mean that they're all then at very similar tyre lives, or is the wear still quite aggressive after 10, 11, 12 laps? So if it's still wearing quite aggressively, the guys in front may be in trouble. If it does plateau, then they're all effectively exactly the same, and it's game on with 3 identical tyre lives. I'm excited to see how this does play out. It's still going to be difficult for Ugalotti to get it done. I don't know if he can get it done, but he surprised me with how quickly he got himself up into 3rd.
He very quickly got there, but is he going to get himself through into 2nd? Andreas Henkel is no easy character. The top 2 drivers in front of him have at one stage in time held the Black Pro license in iRacing, which indicates that you are an elite driver in the field. Not many drivers, the top 1%, get to hold that, and they are part of that top 1% of drivers. Wide line from Simon through Junsao might have just opened Henkel for an attack here of all things. He might start thinking about the race lead. He's really closing this down in. He'll go to the outside. Andreas Henkel is now going to go for it here, but Simon's going to fight him every stage of the way, and suddenly Ugalotti's right there.
That's hurt both Simon and Henkel with that attack move there, but I don't think Henkel really had a choice. Just with the overspeed he had to go for it, and he's going to get it done down the 2nd straight, and Tamas Simon Ugalotti almost make contact. Beautiful driving from them both, and they're going to hold on. Henkel's loving seeing this in his mirrors.
He is. Tamas Simon's not giving this one up. He's going to fight the inside. It's a tyre. Oh, my goodness me. How are they both still in this race? Tamas Simon holds on.
Wow. That should have ended in tears for both drivers, and they're both still going, and both are still in VRS range. Oh, this is incredible.
And they might still have a bit of a ding-dong scrap at it in towards turn 1. How close does Ugalotti want to be through Junsao? The answer is all over the back. This is incredible stuff in the iRacing Grand Prix Series. Here comes Matteo Ugalotti once again. This time he's going to have to make it happen. No DRS, surely, for Tamas Simon. Plain sailing. Andreas Henkel now knows he is in a fight, but now here comes DRS for Tamas Simon if he can come back and fight it, but he's all over the curb fighting it.
And maybe he's at the point where the tyres are starting to really go away from him. 13 laps. He's been pushing pretty aggressive. We saw earlier when we looked back at Adam Webb, he was on 14-lap-old tyres and was starting to struggle. So, yeah, this may be playing into Ugalotti's hands a tiny little bit. Is Henkel being a little bit less aggressive on the tyres, looking at the fastest lap time potentially? Oh, this is going to be intense. 3.5 laps to go. Cannot wait. Victor Oad's had an issue and had an incident back in the field, but this at the front is getting very, very tasty. Don't discount Luis Nunes from this fight too. He's only 1.2 seconds behind Tamas Simon, so he's dropped back to conserve tyres. I think he's dropped back on purpose to come and attack right at the end.
108.4. He was 0.4 of a second quicker than anyone else on that last lap, and over the line another 108.4 as he goes through, matching leader's pace. But Ugalotti still under the 108 as he goes through. He's within DRS range now, and this is going to be trouble for Andreas Henkel with 3 laps to go, because he's going to have to use his battery very, very wisely to defend, and that middle sector becomes key in terms of how he tries to defend against one Mr. Matteo, because this is where you get all of that charge back again through this section.
Yep, battery is probably going to be more important than DRS, I think, at this stage. Henkel's going to have as much of it as he can. You can see the red, what looks like brake lights. They're not brake lights, they're harvesting lights. That means that the battery is in harvest mode. So Henkel's going to have to try and use all of that he's got to defend this position. Has he got enough in the literal tank? Has he got enough battery there to defend this spot with 2 laps to go? 0.6 of a second, DRS flap opens. Is he going to be able to do it? Oh, beautiful driving from Henkel to try and break the draft. He's going to do enough here. 1 more straight to defend, and then he can harvest as much as he can.
He's got to think, like, where is Ugalotti going to get close enough to attack? Because there will be 1 lap after this. It's not a guarantee. Matteo with a very risky strategy. Nearly lost his race with Tamas Simon, but is still going for it with everything he's got up the hill. He's going for it. By the way, there is a good scrap going on 6th and 7th. Anthony Cat, Felipe Giro. Keep that in mind towards the end of this race. But it's all focus at the front with car number 1, Matteo Ugalotti, who knows he needs as many points as he can get his hands on. He's trying to beat Oliver Stepanov and Kalen Chin and Luis Nunez in this championship on comparative drop rounds. If you put all 4 in, he's up by 80. He wants to be up by more, but he also wants a race win, and that could be massive here as he exits Junsao with a lap and a little bit to go.
Breathe for a second, because this is going to be an incredible finish. It's at 0.7 of a second, so Henkel's gained a 10th on this lap. Effective to Matteo Ugalotti. Will he be able to hold on? You know that Ugalotti's going to use everything he can in his power through this lap to try and close this down. He's not quite close enough to start this final DRS run, but going to be there to apply enough pressure. Will he be able to apply enough pressure to make a mistake, to force a mistake, I should say. This is going to be an intense battle. Who will hold on? Who will win? Oh, this is good.
Middle sector then, and Andreas Henkel's just got to be perfect from here because he has a gap. And what was so telling was listening to him going in towards turn number 1, flicking down into 7th gear, getting more harvest. Back end kicks out a little bit more for Ugalotti. He's trying now. He's trying everything. But did he come in a little bit too late? He was 5 laps later than everybody else. Andreas Henkel had to make the move. He had to capitalize on it. It's got to be so close at the line, but it's not going to be close enough. Andreas Henkel will survive the oncoming storm and win here at Interlagos. Ugalotti 2nd, Tamas Simon will take 3rd. Kalen Chin will come to the line in 5th. Giro and Cat do not change positions, but both having really good races. That was mega for Andreas Henkel's confidence.
Final gap officially 0.140. 0.14 of a second. 1 lap difference in pit stop strategy may have been enough for that to all be completely different. What a fun race that was. And we said at the start, and we'll say it every time we come here, Interlagos delivers each and every time in these cars.
It really does. It is just a special circuit. It really is. It will always go down as one of the all-time greats out there overall. Empty battery at the end, came out of the last turn, looked down, 0% battery. If he had got there, it was plain sailing for Ugalotti. But Andreas Henkel holds on by just enough, with Ugalotti in 2nd, 14 minutes, 21 seconds, the time of race. Tamas Simon will finish 3rd. He'll be hard done by because he did everything right got the strategy correct and ultimately just found himself on the wrong end of a couple moves, and that's why he's third. Luis Nunez, great driving from him in fourth, but Kalen Chin, that spin coming through turn 2, that might be the moment his championship aspirations just went up in smoke. 5th place only for him. Anthony Catt will finish 6th with Felipe Giro in 7th. Benjamin Seiss will finish off in 8th place with Øyvind Haugland in 9th, and Brandon Powell rounding out the top 10 overall. Just the 13 finishers today in this race. Adam Webb was the early stopper and found himself struggling towards the end. Victor Awad had a big spin through turn 2. That's why he's down in 12th position. And Philip Yates, the last finisher in this one, at 47 seconds adrift of your leader. The drivers who are multiple laps down then and retirees, Harry Draper coming out of the pits, found himself in a world of hurt. Corey Sharbo having a big moment when it came to Jun Sao, got a huge clobber of Øyvind Haugland in the end. Mateus Machado went on lap 2 at turn 2, and then on the opening lap, Kent Nielsen and George van Rensburg coming together at the Curva de Sol pretty much ended any hopes they had of finding a victory here today. But today is not the end of the championship. There are still 2 more rounds to keep in mind. What about this place here, Jay? Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. It is the oldest scan. You can see that building there right at the top. That's not there anymore, but it's such a beautiful circuit and one which is the great all-rounder.
Definitely sorts the men out from the boys. It sorts the skilled from the just fast, hot lapping drivers. It's going to be an incredible race. Love it each and every time we go to this place as well. If we can't have Interlagos to end the championship, why not have Spa right at the pointy end of the season as well to finish it off? Bring it on. It's going to be a fun one at Spa next week.
It certainly will. The only place you can catch that is with us here at SimSpeed TV. If you haven't had the chance to already, like, share and subscribe. What have you been doing? This is where great racing comes to life, and you can watch it at all times here with us at SimSpeed. A massive thanks has to go to the iRacing Open Wheel community who helped give us the opportunity to broadcast what is an incredible series, season upon season upon season. On top of that, I want to give a massive thanks to the Virtual Racing School, who have been sponsors of the replays here today. From Jay Kennedy, who's been cameras and commentary, myself, Jake Sperry. That, for Andreas Henkel, is a monumental confidence boost. That was easily what he needed, and he just proved that when he needed to attack, he attacked. When he needed to defend, he defended, and he did everything and a bit more to get what he wanted. This is an incredible track with incredible racing, and it only gets better. We'll see you a week from today with the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything else. Both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God. Oh. Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go.
Oh no.
That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God.